Hello everybody, welcome back to the Design Edge. Today I'm going to be giving an introduction to storytelling. So what are stories? Well, first of all, they are specific. Second of all, they hold an emotional spectrum all the way from sad to happy to neutral emotions. They come with the old and out with the new. They change their focus. And they also have these 5 different C's: conflict, circumstance, conversation, characters, and curiosity, all make up parts of the story. The best story structures usually include weaknesses and needs, desires, opponents, plans, battles, self-revelations, or new equilibriums. An example of weaknesses and needs is usually hunger or thirst. Desire is usually about love. Opponents usually fight one another in some way. Plans usually have some sort of checklist. Battles are usually some other sort of conflict that's involving direct human-to-human contact. Self-revelation is usually something that comes from a thought process, and new equilibriums come from a balancing or rebalancing of different things. In the editing and drafting process, we choose to focus on 3 different things, especially through lists. We focus on wishes, promises, and core, characters, environments, symbols, as well as the composition to each one of those. In terms of characters, there's really 3 segments that we're concerned about: their function, their archetype, and their theme. Their function usually depends upon whether or not there's some sort of protagonist, who often is just considered the hero as its own archetype, but not always, or opposition. Archetypes can just be thought of as originals, recurrent symbols, or just typical examples of a certain person or thing. Usually lies somewhere in the middle with the interesting bits of the story. Rules of composition: mainly there's 3 fonts, 3 colors, 3 themes. Don't exceed those are limits. Next, stories usually containing elements that are main 60% of the time, secondary 30% of the time, and accented 10% of the time. In terms of exploring stories should either represent growth, some sort of standard, old or new, as well as this middle balance between what and interests that we call relevance. In terms of stories and design, we always like to start with a hook. Then we have these 4 different characteristics that all lead to one thing. They empathy, a grasping, a question, and then memory. And after all, we include all those elements, we get a payoff, which is basically a call to action. That's the easiest way to think about it. But really the payoff is, what does the reader actually gain from reading the story? For information on stories, story arcs, how to write stories, and different themes and archetypes of characters, please go ahead and check out our website for our usual follow-up. Thanks for tuning in this week.